I have a hard time sleeping. It's not that bad of an issue. I just take some melatonin and that will usually knock me out. Sometimes I do like to push myself and see if I can go to sleep without any. A desire born out of a childhood brainwashing telling me that drugs are bad. All drugs. On those nights, I stare up at the ceiling, I listen to my wife's adorable little snores, and I'd like to say I use the time in the dark to think on things. I'd like to say that, but it wouldn't tell the full truth. More often than not, my mind enters what I call a thought loop. I think of a subject, but can never move beyond the subject. The thoughts never move past the starting point. Think of a sentence and just repeat the sentence over and over again. It's like a computer trying to calculate a paradox, or maybe a CD that skips a song or something like that. Whatever the case may be, this is a frustrating experience. So eventually I have enough and take the medicine. Getting up from bed, opening the door into the living room, and being just blinded by the light of a neighboring apartment complex. Capitolium. That's what it's called. A gaudy apartment building, and behind it exists the largest overseas U.S. military base, Camp Humphreys. With the U.S. military leaving Yongsan in Seoul, all the personnel who used to work there have been moved here to Pyeongtaek, about an hour south by train. Taking advantage of this, new apartment complexes have sprung up to house the new population of American soldiers, civilian workers, contractors, and their families. There are the blinding lights of Capitolium, representing capitalism itself, and behind it is a massive U.S. military base to enforce it. The brain and the muscle, the ideology and the threat. This neighborhood of Pyeongtaek often feels like a colony, and it feels that way probably because it is. Camp Humphreys even started out as a Japanese airstrip. The American occupation is quite literally piggybacking off of the infrastructure built for the previous imperial occupation. And you are reminded that it is an occupation wherever you are. It's an army base. Soldiers in uniform are a common sight, and no matter where you are, you'll hear and even see helicopters and jets endlessly circling above. This all used to be farmland before the base was built. You can definitely see echoes of the past in the tiny pieces of land that hadn't been bought out by housing developments. The complex I live in even has this home next door that grows crops over their entire property. It seems so odd visually having grandiose towers standing next to a humble home and their humble farm. I do enjoy seeing the crops come in every so often. I look out this window with both awe at the beauty of agriculture, as well as envy, as I hope one day to be able to grow food for a hypothetical future commune. Thinking on that humble future, I have to reconcile with the present reality of living in the very housing developments that stole that humble and idyllic life from others. That I am not only complacent, but an active participant. I see the lights of Capitolium and they blind me at night, but the lights in my apartment complex shine down on that pleasant home below just as intensely. We would not be here if it weren't for the occupation. They opened an army hospital on base, and the hospital created a lot of job openings. There was a great career move for my wife, and they pay for housing. That's right, the U.S. military pays for a housing here to live in a luxurious apartment, but the U.S. government won't do shit for the homeless back stateside. It's fucked. Our time here is coming to an end. We're leaving soon, returning to the States. But even there, our efforts will still be used to maintain this occupation and similar occupations across the globe, including the occupation that is the United States itself. No matter what job we have, we will contribute to the economy of the United States that feeds the beast of the American war machine. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism, and likewise I am doubtful there is any ethical employment either. We must all make compromises with the unjust systems we live under, but making compromises and surrendering are two different things. I hope my being here was the former and not the latter. When I'm back in the States, I intend to do some real work towards defeating capitalism. Join orgs and shit. I don't know. I hope these compromises are made worthwhile in the end. We'll see, I suppose. Anyway, back to bed. Thank you for letting me move through one of those thought loops. A thank you to Patreon backers, Aracobia, Josh Thomas, and Paz. Thank you.